Hello beautiful people, it's good to be back again, and in today's tutorial we're going to be treating a matchday poster design featuring Manchester City hosting Tottenham Hotspur. You can get the link to the resources in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, let's get into the action. So first off, like always, we always start by creating our background, and for this design I like to go with a plain background, which is a white color. After creating that, the next thing we are doing is importing our images, and we are starting first with Ryan Checky. So I'm going to make a selection of this using the magic wand tool and clicking on select subject. After the selection has been made, you're going to drag this out here and place it here. But I'm looking at the arm right now and I'm noticing that we did not get all of it, so I'm going to do this using my pen tool. Make sure it's set to part before you start cutting out rather than shape. So once that's set, I'm just going to trace out the arm. After going over that, the next thing you're going to do is connect the lines. After connecting the lines, then you can right click, make a selection and then delete. Just like that, you have successfully deleted that. So I'm just going to zoom out so we can see, and next we're going to import our second image. This is a Man City special, so we are only dealing with Man City players for this tutorial. So I'm just going to import our next image, which is the new signing as well. Again, I'm going to do the same thing, make a selection using my magic wand tool, clicking on select subject, and as well I'm going to be dragging this down here. I'm going to delete that because we won't be needing it anymore. Head back to our files and bring a picture. This is a stadium tunnel, so I'm going to be making a cutout using the pen tool because I would not be needing that side of the pitch. Before you always start your cutout, don't forget to make sure it's set to parts. If it's set to shapes, then you are actually drawing a shape rather than making a selection. So always make sure it's set to parts before you start making cutouts using the pen tool. After going round, I'm going to connect the dots. Repeat the same procedure like I did the first one. Make a selection and then delete. After doing that, I'm going to bring this down here and make sure it is placed behind the two players that we already have. For the concept of this design, I'm trying to make it look like they are walking out. He's posing and the other guy is walking like from the tunnel down to the pitch. That's the idea behind the design. So next I'll be importing our third image, and this time it will be Joe School, or U School like they call him rather. I'm Nigerian, so don't mind my accent. Trying to find our image now. Okay, found it. Yeah, we're repeating the same procedure, making our cutout using the magic wand tool and clicking select subject. After doing that, you're dragging it just the same way you did the last two. We already have it, and we didn't get all of it, so we're going to be using our pen tool because the magic wand tool seems to be getting a part of the jersey as well. So with your pen tool, make sure it's set to part, start, and connect the dots before you delete. So now I'm just going to make a cutout, trace the parts that will not be needing, and then I'm going to connect the lines. Right click, make a selection, and then delete. So I'm going to place this by the side and bring our chair key down to the middle while I increase the size of the other guy. I really can't pronounce his name, which is why I'm not even trying to say it. So next we are going to be adding a pitch rather, because we already deleted the one that initially came with the background. So I'll be going with this, and I'll make sure it's behind all the elements we already have. The next thing I'm doing is clicking Ctrl T and reducing the size and properly placing our player as well as the pitch. So in a setting like this, the camera focus is definitely on the players, so we are going to be making that pitch blur. I will be going with the lens blur. Make sure the radius is not too much, so I'm just going to be going with 10. Yeah, like that. We have made it blur while it's not too much but still visible. So next I'll be importing the Man City logo down here. So now I'll right click and click on the sort. I'm trying to make it match the ground, trying to make it look realistic, like it was embedded on the floor. Okay, I think we are good with that. So next I'll be doing is blending. On my blend mode, I'll set it to overlay, and I'll head down to my blending options. So now you want to hold Alt before you start dragging. As you drag, you can see how realistic it becomes and how much it rhymes with the floor. So you can slide to the point where you are satisfied and then click OK. I'm zooming in so you can see visibly what it's looking like so far. So now I'll be adding the logos. This is like a versus, the logo of City and that of Spurs, and I'll be putting them both inside a rectangle. I'm going to be demarcating a rectangle using a blue color representing City and white for Spurs. So the next thing we are doing now is importing the logos down here, and I'll be starting with City. Click on Ctrl T to reduce the size and properly place it inside of the rectangle. Make sure it's not touching the edges rather. Don't forget you can also get the link to the resources. Just check the description for the link and you're good to go. So you can practice yours while you follow this video. So right about now we are heading down to our files again to look for our Tottenham logo. There we have our Spurs logo. So I'm going to drag this, drop this here, make a selection using Ctrl T and then reduce the size. Make sure I properly fit it inside our rectangle. So now that that's sorted, the next thing we'll be doing is grouping that. I always like to group my layers so it's easier for me to make corrections and locate layers pretty fast. So I'm going to rotate this player. Forgive me if I can't pronounce his name. I'm not trying to ruin it, which is why I'm not even trying. So I'm going to make a selection of Ryan Cherky and reduce the size because he is heading for, there's a distance between he, Gavdio and the other guy standing. He's heading out of this whole place, so we have to reduce the size to make it look more realistic. You get me? Heading out of the tunnel while these two are inside posing for the camera. So next we are doing is player treatment, and we are doing that by using our camera raw filter. I already made a tutorial on this. You can feel free to check back just to get more details on how this is done. Basically I'm just increasing and decreasing exposure, highlights and all of that, and after that I always like to go to details and increase the sharpen, noise reduction, color noise reduction as well, so you can see all of the effects we've added. Now it's been loaded and we can see clearly. So I'm not going to waste much time. I'm just going to rush the process for the other ones. If you've come this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also turn on notification to stay updated when a new video drops. I'm rushing this right now, but if you are confused, you can do well to check the retouch. I made a video on retouching, so you can check that just to have a clear insight of how it all works. So the next we are doing is adding curves. It is all in the video as well. You can check just to get full details. So we'll be adding two types of curves, a dark one and a light one, dodge and burn. I'm going to make a selection of both, create a clipping mask, and I'm going to make a copy using Ctrl C because I love to keep consistency with all of my images. And I'm going to invert the mask using Ctrl I and then head down to my brush. Make sure I am on the light curve because that's what we're starting with, and then I start brushing. After doing all of that, the darker parts become visible, then I head down to the dark curve and brush the darker part as well, which is what I'm currently doing right now. So you can see I'm focusing on the dark areas of the arm. This was a very shocking match really, because I never really expected Spurs to take home that win. I was really hoping City were going to take it, but I guess it's what it is then. So after that, don't forget I created a copy, so I'm just going to use my Ctrl V to paste it on top of our use school. Create a clipping mask, head down to your brush, make sure you are always on white when you are working on an inverted mask. And then I start painting, and I start with the light curve. You can see as we paint, the darker parts become visible. I'm just going to increase the size so I can make it snappy with the hands. Not forgetting the other arm as well, even if it's not all visible, but you have to capture the ones that are there. Detail is a very important part of designing. So now I'm going with the dark curve, and I'm just going to paint through the darker part of the skin, the neck, the face, the ear, and the hands as well. So I'm going to zoom out so we can have a clear view of what we've done so far. And next, we're not forgetting check key. I'm just going to paste this using Ctrl V because I already created a copy using Ctrl C. And like always, I like to group my layers just to make sure they are properly arranged. So yeah, I'm starting with the lighter curve. And then I move to the dark parts and I paint with a dark curve or brush, like you like to call it. So here we have successfully treated our images, or giving them a retouch rather, to make them look a bit sharper than the original. So now for our check key, I like to properly blend all of those white particles on the edge of the arm, and you can do that by creating a mask. And make sure when you're on your brush, make sure your color is set to black. So you just brush through the edges and clear out those white particles on the edge. You can see the white particles are slowly coming off more as we do this. And here, if you have a suggestion of what you'd love to see next, don't hesitate to drop that in the comments. I promise to go through them. Yeah, so I might have gone overboard with that, so I'm going to undo a little bit, and you can undo using Ctrl Z. Not forgetting the other hand, make sure that's blended properly as well. And fix this part too. I'll close my group. So the next thing we're doing is adding highlights, and you do that by creating a solid color. Make sure it's white, and your blend mode is set to linear dodge. You head down to your blending options, and then you hold Alt. I'm going to drag this to the side so you can see. Make sure you are holding Alt while you drag to separate those. You see, the more we drag, the more visible and the more lighter our solid color becomes. So now you're going to invert the mask using Ctrl I. Head down to your brush, make sure it's not too big, because we are going to be adding highlights to the edges of the images where the reflection comes from. So as you can see right now, I'm just brushing through the edges of the image, adding highlights. And yeah, I already made a copy before I even started brushing, because I'm still going to be doing the same thing for the rest of our players. So I always like to make a copy. I don't want to recreate, because I'm trying to be consistent. I don't want to have different degrees or number sets for different highlights. So I just make a copy so I maintain a consistency for each and every image that I have in my designs. So I'm just going to paste on top of that, and it's already inverted as well. So now I'm just going to paint through the edges. That's too much, so I'm going to undo that and try it out again. Do the same thing for the back as well. And yeah, exciting times ahead, because I'm currently creating a PNG pack of football players for the 2025-2026 season. Hopefully, I hope I'm able to finish that up before my next video, so I'll be dropping the link in the description. So yeah, I'm just going to brush through the edges and add my highlights. Okay, now that that's settled, then we move over to our last player, which is Ryan Cherky. And here all we're doing is going on top of him. Just click on the group where he is and create a duplicate, or we are pasting, since we already made a copy. Make sure your brush is set to white because it's an inverted mask, and reduce the size because he's a lot more smaller than the other guys we worked on. So now I'm just going to add highlights to the edges. Pretty easy, isn't it? undo that. You can always undo every action using Ctrl Z. Never forget that. Yeah, not forgetting the socks as well. And the shorts too. Yeah, so that's settled. So that's all for the highlights. So for our round checky, next thing we are doing is adding a realistic shadow. So we are creating a duplicate. You can do that holding Alt and dragging, or you just click Ctrl Command J. But make sure your duplicate is underneath the actual image. And next you reduce. Go to your hue and saturation. You can use the shortcut Ctrl U as displayed on the screen. So now I'm just going to right click and click on the sort, trying to properly place the shadow. And next I'm going to reduce the opacity, make sure it's not too bold, and then I'm going to head I'm going to create a mask and then fade this, but first I have to delete that one. So I'm just going to make sure your color is set to black before you start fading. And if it's too much, you can always undo your process and retry again. Okay. So now I'm gonna head down to filters, blur and motion blur. I'm just going to set this a little. We'll leave it at 11 because we don't want it to be too much. So make sure this is in the checky group. So wherever we move, they all follow. If you get what I'm saying. This is why grouping your layers is very important. So now the next thing I'm doing is sharpening my images, and I'm starting with a new guy. I don't know his name, my bad. I do know his name, but I can't pronounce it correctly. So I'm really trying to not ruin it. So basically all we are doing here is sharpening our image, making it pop more. I'm gonna leave that at 72. Might take a minute to load. Don't forget that you can always get the resources for this video in the description link. There's a link in the description. And yeah, if you've come this far, I don't know why you haven't subscribed. I don't know why you haven't liked. You should probably do that right now. So yeah, we are maintaining consistency. So we are repeating the same process for all of our players. The last one I did automatically still remains, so I'm just going to click on OK. Yeah, it might take a minute to load as well. And yeah, not forgetting round checky. We're also repeating the same process for him too. Head down to sharpen, smart sharpen. Yeah, saved as well, so all I have to do is click OK. As usual, it's gonna take a minute to load. So yeah, that's pretty much all about that. And here we can also add noise to our image, but make sure it's not too much. So I'm going to leave that at 4.39. And then I'm going to zoom out, so as you can see right now, our images are looking a lot more sharp than what we originally started with. So I always tell you, right, you have to have the logo of the league or competition that these clubs are engaging in. So this is a Premier League fixture, so we're going to have the Premier League badge placed somewhere in this design, just to indicate that it's a Premier League fixture. And if you are doing a fictional project, you can always include that there and tag them when you post as well. This color is dull, so this will only work well on a white background, so we are definitely gonna change that. I'll do that by creating a solid color, set it to white. You can just click F 3 times, that gives you white, then create a clipping mask. There you go. And yeah, I select them both, reduce the size. You can select 2 layers, holding Control, then clicking both. And yeah, like always, I'll create a group. So I'm closing on my group right now, just to make sure my layers are not looking messy. So the next thing we're doing is adding a color lookup. This makes our design look a lot more better. It just gives it this feel. This blend really makes designs look cool. Right now I'm struggling to pick one that really catches the eye. So right now I'm just trying to blend. Yeah, I think I actually like this one better. It gives the vibe that the match is actually going to happen in the afternoon, because it's a 12:30 p.m. kickoff time. You don't want to have a match at that time, and the atmosphere of your design is not tallying with that time. You get me? So, and as you already know, it's happening at the Etihad Stadium. So I'm just going to place this at the top, make sure it's aligned alongside the Premier League badge. And yes, I'm going to be changing our stadium, because the one we used earlier wasn't actually the Man City pitch. So now I'm going to be changing to a Man City stadium. And yeah, if you can teach me how to pronounce his name, I'd really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So yeah, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also turn on notifications to stay updated when a new video drops, and you can get the link in the description. I love you guys. Keep creating. Peace.